Hi, welcome to the Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Thanks for joining the conversation. If you are a fan of the hit TV series Warrior, you are in for a treat today. Joining me are the incredible cast members who bring the dynamic show to life. Warrior isn't just a show. It's a riveting journey through the heart of 19th century San Francisco's Chinatown, where loyalty, honor, and survival clash amidst a backdrop of brutal turf wars and political intrigue. With its masterful storytelling, superbly executed action sequences, and rich character development, Warrior has captivated audiences worldwide. Warrior deserves a season 4 because it's more than just a show. It's a testament to the power of storytelling to inspire, educate, and unite across cultures and generations. The show transcends the typical period drama. It seamlessly weaves historical events with fictional narratives that explore themes of identity, justice, and the human condition. Furthermore, the show boasts a diverse cast of talented actors who breathe life into these characters that defy stereotypes and resonate with audiences on a profound level. I'd like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our guests for joining me today, as I was fortunate enough to participate in a press junket for the series. What does that mean? Well, think of it as speed dating with 2 to 3 cast members at a time. Listen on today for a fun conversation with Andrew Koji, Chen Tang, Jason Tobin, Olivia Cheng, Miranda Rayson, Perry Young, Diane Dwan, Langley Kirkwood, Hoon Lee, and Tom Weston Jones. There are several things you can do to help make season 4 a reality. Please watch all 3 seasons all the way through and give it a double thumbs up on Netflix. It's also important to do this in the first 7 to 14 days following the launch on February 16. Please tell your friends to watch and organize parties to do so, and post about it on social media and tag at Netflix as well as at Netflix Golden. These actions will help get season 4 in production. So let's get together and push for Warrior season 4. As always, if you enjoy these conversations, please rate my podcast on your platform of choice and share it with others. If you would like to support with a donation to help keep this podcast going and support the work I do, you can become a patron of the show by visiting my website or patreon.com/SifuMimiChan. For comments or suggestions, reach out on social media at SifuMimiChan. Now, on with the show. Our first conversation is with Andrew Koji, who plays Assam, Chen Tang, who plays Hong, and Jason Tobin, who plays Young Jun. Hello, Andrew, Jason, and Chen. Yay! Thanks so much for joining me. I'm so happy to see you all. So from Max to HBO to Netflix, Warrior is literally the appropriate name for this show because you guys just keep on fighting and swinging. It's amazing. Each of your characters, though, are fighters and warriors in their own different ways. And so I would love to hear a little bit on your take on like what your character is fighting for and like the motivation behind their fight. Whether it's physical or whether it's, just kind of deep seated into their persona. But I guess we'll start with Andrew.
Assam's, there's different things. Is like you're super objective, and each objective you break it down to different objectives. Assam essentially is, I think, fighting for his place in the world, fighting for family, and I guess but obviously his journey is to learn, or was to learn, going from being a hot-headed great fighter to a true martial artist, and I think. Each fight is different, should have different objectives. You're either protecting, defending, you're either teaching someone a lesson, or you're letting a lot of anger out, or you're really being put to the test and being very technical. This can be loads of different reasons, ways that Assam, I think, fights. I think obviously season 1, he lacks a lot of purpose, and he's a bit of a hothead, and he's from a small town. He thinks that he was the best, but actually he's come to this town, he's learned that he's not. And that people play by a very different set of rules. And then season 2, he's venting a lot of anger out and getting with it and learning to find what he and must fight for. Season 3, I think he finds that. That kind of encapsulates it, I think.
Absolutely. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I feel like with Young Jun, he was born in America, but he's Chinese, and he lives in Chinatown. And the feeling that I have with Youngjun is that, if he doesn't have something to fight for, if he's not actively looking for a fight, he's just gonna wither away and die. Like, there's no sort of living peacefully and just going about your day and sort of minding your own business. It's either die, perish, or fight every goddamn day. And for him, that focus is his Tong. Like, and he has to hold on to it with dear life. And if there isn't a fight to be had, then he is just going to slip away. So there's like this need for a fight. And that's why at a drop of a hat, he will fight. And it's literally like it sustains him, so to speak. And the only time that kind of like it goes beyond his own personal survival and the survival of the Tong is in season 2, when it becomes more about Chinatown and Youngjun starts to change and go, oh, we are fighting for something else. There's and it kind of shakes his belief system up. But yeah, other than that, it's really that the fight is what feeds him.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about you, Chen?
Yeah.
You know what? These guys have talked so deep and poetic and waxed poetic. I'm gonna say, Jason, you said that the fight is what feeds him. You know what I chose for Hong was this guy simply fights to eat. I took it as more of like a no. I mean, like, I said
that's fair.
Literally,
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
because I took it as more of like a wild animal in nature. If this is the world that he has gone and been brought up in from China, and that is all he knows, it's not so much like there's no deeper meaning behind it because it's simply survival. And because of that, I also chose that, it's interesting, like loyalty. I'm a loyal dude, but it was really just simply because you're loyal to the thing that keeps you alive, and that's all you've known. So in some ways, I actually chose that Hong actually isn't loyal. He didn't have any loyalty coming here. He just came here to get out. And when I first met Asan and Youngjun, I wanted to befriend them because it would be the highest chances of survival on some deep level. I knew that. But what I found was really interesting during season 2, episode 9, after the Chinatown riot, it was the first time, I still remember that scene when we were taking down the body and after the lynching, and it was the first time I actually felt like there's something deeper here. Maybe we should fight for something like family. And even if you didn't want to, it was, you try to keep it just about survival. You don't think about anything. You can't help but start to fall in love with the people you're around. And they're real family now. And it's
Absolutely.
not just about yourself.
Yeah, one of the things I love so much about this show, and I am a huge fan, of course, of all of you, but it's the characters themselves. They're not one-dimensional. I often hear the phrase, like, I'm a good person that has done very bad things, and I am a bad person that has done very good things. And I think each of the characters in this entire cast, like all of you, have so much depth in the different characters and everything. And I know there's a lot of weight on your shoulders as you each navigate who you are in the film. And obviously, Andrew, it must be just a ton of pressure because you are carrying on this legacy with literally Shannon Lee on the sidelines. How do you handle that pressure, or do you not feel pressure at all?
I didn't too much at first because I was thinking about this. Something recently was like the time the show wasn't what it is now. We didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
There was weirdness. There was strangeness of people calling me because they thought I was literally playing Bruce Lee. A lot of people, so a lot of the crew would shout Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee. I'm like, I'm not playing Bruce Lee. And I think and I think there was Asan was written a lot more to be a bit more Bruce-like. Even in episode 1, season 1, he was kind of coming out and he was doing the monkey key eyes kind of stuff. But. Yeah, at the time I was just I guess I was just an actor who'd been given this job, and I was like, well, I want to learn and do the best job that I can. Um, the other pressure, it wasn't so much there. I guess it was more towards when it was coming out and stuff. And then after that, it turned into a thing. I kind of feel more of the pressure afterwards, since the show's
Right.
come out. It's like I've got a reputation. Probably since season two and three, feel like I've got more of a reputation to uphold because of that. So I think it's more for me. The pressure is kind of a bit more after, because I'm associated with that show, which has now become like a Bruce Lee part of his legacy. So at the time, season one, it wasn't that. It was like a job. Didn't know if it was going to be any good. Didn't know if it was going to be successful. Didn't know if it was going to be seen by anyone. Didn't even know if I'd make it through the season one. Filming that. So now it's just a bit different. Of like, yeah, I've got a. There's a bit of a legacy behind that, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm giving the 2-minute warning here. So Chen, I'm actually really thrilled to see your character who comes out with pride and the portrayal of the LGBT community, especially during that time period. Do you feel like any weight in that sense of the way, or do you just, like what Andrew said, you're just, I'm doing my show, I'm doing the script and getting into character, or do you feel a little bit of weight?
I would actually feel it was the opposite of weight. It was more of an honor. It gave me so much strength, and so much of the way I portrayed Hong and how I created it and the choices that I made came from his sexuality and his sexuality in that time.
Yes.
And how I would see the world, and how it felt like we were you just want to be accepted and not hide.
Right. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That was such an honor.
Yeah.
It was an honor. So it actually in some ways it took off the pressure.
Yeah, thank you for that. And then Jason, you and we got to speak at length on our podcast, and you and I spoke at how thrilled you were that when you got there, your hair and costume were just like the ante kept going up and up. But you really on the show embody that next generation, and kind of we've had previous conversations, but as a parent yourself, I'm sure you can relate to a lot of the scenes between you and Father Jun. Do you channel yourself as a father, or put yourself in his shoes? Like, how does that work when you're kind of in those really intense scenes that has taken us through all of the seasons, really?
Yeah. I always feel like the roles I've played have somehow met me at the right time of my life, and so with Warrior, and particularly the relationship that I had with Father Jun, and the things that we explore in that relationship have met me at the right time in my life. As a father in real life, and also my relationship with my own dad, and filming those scenes with Perry in season 3 were, they were heavy. They were heavy, and you have to work out your own demons, and I'm talking to Perry, but I'm talking to myself, and I'm talking to my dad, and I'm talking to my kids, and it's what a wonderful art form it is that we get to do, and I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it right now.
Yeah, it was all very moving, and all of you just really knock it out of the park. I'm excited for this potential season 4. I would love if each of you could just do a quick call to action, watch on Netflix, just so that I can put together a really amazing reel. Feel free to add a little martial arts to it if you want. You don't have to, but I want to do something fun. As this is the year of the dragon, and I feel like we are going to get this done together. So whoever wants to go first, and then I'll put it together.
In the year of the dragon. Binge and 2 thumbs up, Warrior. Come on, let's go.
Get that completion rate. Get the completion rate. First 2 weeks, most important. Watch it all the way through. Get the completion rate if you want a season 4. 2 thumbs up and completion rate. Boom, bish, bash, boss.
We're just so excited for old fans and a whole lot of new ones. It's very bingeable. So once you start, it's quite addictive. I'll say that for real.
100%.
People always ask me, is there going to be a season 4? I'm telling you, it's in your hands. It's not in our hands anymore. The fans, you have the opportunity to play a role in this. Let's go.
I already have so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're gonna keep keep pushing for that, everybody. And just selfishly, I would love to have you all back on for a longer podcast because they're giving me the wrap up right now. I'd love to really talk to you. I mean, Jason, I've had you on before, but I'd love you guys to join me. I'd love to be able to reach out. So thank you so much for your time today, though. And I know that you have more of these to do. So
thank you so much, Sifu Mimi Chan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chen. You're too funny.
Thank you. Bye, Mimi. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hello. Gong Hei Fa Choi. My next conversation is with the amazing Olivia Cheng, who portrays Ah Toy, Miranda Rayson, who portrays Nellie Davenport, and my friend Perry Young, who plays Father June.
Mimi Chan, who has been trying to talk to us for years.
Finally.
Guys, this is Sifu Mimi Chan of the Sifu Mimi Chan Show, who passed a bill successfully in Florida to have Asian American history taught in schools. Mimi, I won't take up any more of your time. You have 10 minutes with us.
I know. It's so quick. Olivia, at long last, I feel like this is a long time coming. Perry, my dear friend, always good to see you. And Miranda, oh my goodness, so nice to meet you.
Happy to meet you.
I'm so happy. And we only have 10 minutes, but I'm going to say, I hope to have each of you on for a more extended interview at some point. But as we just discussed, I'm absolutely an advocate for Asian American history and education, not just for our kids, though. Film and TV like this allows our adults to also learn a piece of our history, right? And this is of course fiction, but there's so much of it that's rooted in historical fiction that there's different episodes that have events that happened. And of course, this show doesn't just tackle that, but it also tackles LGBTQ representation. Both of these things super important to me. And I just love to hear from each of you, especially in this grouping I have right here. Why do you think these stories are so important to tell? So whoever wants to jump in first.
If I may, only because I didn't get a chance to answer a really important question earlier about what does family mean in Warrior. So,
sure.
If you know Asian American history, you know that Chinatowns were bachelor societies. And that's because of an 1875 law called the Page Act that prevented Asian women from entering the country. And that law was strictly made to prevent Asians from having families in America, from starting roots in America. So that's why there are no women in Chinatown when the Assam first enters and say, how come there are no women here? But, I don't think they could have written because of the 1875 Page Act that prevented women from coming into the country. So because of that, because Chinatown was a bachelor society, the Tongs were their families. The Tongs took care of you. The Tongs, if you were sick, supported you. That when you died, the Tongs sent your body home. So the Tongs were your family. And that's why the brotherhood was so important to Assam, to join the brothers or not, because you had no one else looking after you. And that's a part of our history that you learn from watching Warrior.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Olivia, you want to jump in?
I think what our show does in such a great way is it doesn't bash anyone over the head with our history. It's just the world that we exist in. And so it creates this really rich tapestry with all these threads that if you go, did that really happen? Were there really these riots? Were Asian women really treated like this? Are these crib brothels a real thing? Who is Nellie's character based on? There was really a woman named Donaldina Cameron. Wait, there was a real Ah Toy who used the American court system in her favor to battle the Tongs and customers who tried to, give her fake gold. There is so much richness that we're actually drawing from. And I think for people within our community who don't know so much of their own history, that is so important. And I think it's also so important for people outside of our community to understand where the model minority myth comes from and how it was a survival tactic for us. That even right now, as we try to unpack it and create bridges with other cultures to battle the same systems that are oppressing and hurting so many of us, regardless of our ethnicities, I think Warrior does a really good job of putting all these little Easter eggs into a package that is really entertaining and uplifting and engaging.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Miranda.
I think too, speaking to the LGBT, storylines, LGBTQ, these women are written as humans who have fallen in love, in deep, real, profound love, and that, I think, is an exceptional way to write something where they could have made it all about the period and that struggle, but we've seen elements of that struggle before. I think what they're so clever at doing in this show is just showing a slightly different color, a different aspect to something, so that actually these are two very strong women. They're not two very apologetic women. We've already got the setting of a brothel where kind of anything goes, so it's not the shock of a woman making love to a woman. It's more the everyday, trauma that everyone is living, just trying to find happiness and feel somehow that they might deserve it in some way.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, especially this last season, very heart-wrenching. Lots of tears, and just so much that went into this. But particularly you two here, my ladies in the house, strong female characters, just as you said. And that really resonated with me on a personal level, but also kind of taken aback to like, how much have we really grown in society? Like, where have the wins been? We still have so much to go, because I feel like so much of your character still resonates with women today. Are there parts of your character that you kind of play into going, you know what, this isn't just, like you said, a time period, but like, this is something I need to push for and like, kind of push the envelope on because of what you're representing for women now? Because there's so much of it, I feel like, that is just applicable to this time period, not just, at that time.
I think for me, and they've heard me say this like 5 times, but what I really appreciate about how our show writes for women is that it doesn't shy away from letting us be ugly. It doesn't shy away from letting us be fierce and violent. And, goddesses, they're not just like, out there being, loving and benevolent. That's part of it. What I appreciate about Warrior as a show and how it represents women on screen is it gives us characters who are so multifaceted, and it allows us to be angry, to be violent, to, be vulnerable, to be just as fragile as we are strong. And I think that kind of multidimensional representation gives women out there in life permission to own all of these different aspects of themselves. And I think in a narrative that has too long been like, okay, you're either the nice girl or you're not. You're either a whore or you're not. To be able to show that we have all kinds of colors. I think that's really important as we really evolve what our understanding of women on screen is.
Yeah. So well put. The question, Miranda, was really just kind of how your character as a female in the show, the evolution of it in terms of period now and back then. It's like there are some ways that we've come a long way, and some ways we're still kind of in that time period. Are there anything in your character or anything that you portray that you feel like you utilize in terms of like bringing inspiration to that character, or anything that resonates with why you put forth the action that you do for her?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, actually, Olivia was giving an answer before, and I was sort of thinking of acting opposite her. And I remember when I was at drama school, we had this incredible acting coach, Hilary Wood, who said to us, if ever you want to move people with tears, try not to cry. Use the muscles that you would use to try not to cry. Tighten your throat, hold it. You fight those tears and fight somehow through them, transcend it, as opposed to kind of falling apart. And I feel so often women are shown as either strong or falling apart, and you've got like the empowered woman or the kind of crumbling woman in a corner. And I think something that this show does beautifully, and that the female actors do beautifully, actually, is to be able to show, and Jenny Mbatu does it beautifully too, and to be able to just show that every muscle, every fiber of their being is saying, I cannot fall apart. I must, if there is nobody to catch me. And that applies even to the wealthy white woman who has far more resources and far more of a mattress underneath her. than, but bad analogy with a brothel worker, but far more of a cushion underneath her than the Asian women of the Asian characters of the show. But I think that's a hugely powerful thing that never runs out of steam. Absolutely. Because we can all get quite bored of seeing people sort of just either succumb or walk through the world just being a tough bitch.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
And I know we have to wrap up soon. I do want you all to do a call to action so I can put together a cool reel. But I mean, Perry, really quick before we do that wrapping, we had talked so many times on the podcast, but going off of that, multifaceted, like no one is inherently good or evil in this show. Like everybody has so many sides to what they play. And you are just the patriarch of the entire show. And I'm wondering if you're that on and off air, a little more of a fun question for you. But are you the dad of everybody off air also, or is it just on the show you have this gravitas to you?
I don't think I'm the dad. I think I'm just a friend, that I don't know. Maybe Miranda and Olivia can answer that better.
He's a homie.
He's a homie. Yes.
The first time I really had a conversation with him, he just literally paraglided off a mountain. And I was with my tiny daughter, and you were there in your harness, and we were like, hi, we haven't formally met properly. And, literally just kind of come off a thing. So, yeah, I would say definitely buddy.
that totally tracks. I feel the same way. I would love to put together a reel with all of you, just telling people to watch Netflix, to get season 4 underway, whatever the call to action is. So if each of you could say something, so I could put together something really cool to get fans to action.
Okay, real quick, Perry, why don't you start?
Happy Lunar New Year, February 16th. Clean your house. Let Netflix in for a new world, a new beginning of prosperity.
Hey, 新年快乐, 恭喜恭喜. It's the year of the dragon. It's Bruce Lee, Brandon Lee's year. So come on over to Netflix. Binge us from seasons 1 to 3 after the launch of February 16th. And don't forget to double thumbs up us after you watch us.
Yeah, watch us, love us like we love you. Double thumbs up.
Thank you so much. See you, Mimi.
Thank you so much.
All
okay,
right.
I hope to talk to all of you again.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Next, the lovely Diane Dwan, who plays Mai Ling, and another dear friend and regular on the show, Langley Kirkwood, who plays Walter Buckley.
Hi, Mimi.
I just got the lowdown on you, Mimi, and I think I'm such a huge fan.
Oh, get out of here.
I just told her all about you.
Are you kidding?
Oh, my goodness. I'm a huge fan.
This is so cool.
So cool. Thank you guys so much. Langley, thank you for inviting me, by the way, to this. I'm going to give Hoon hell.
Yeah. No. Hoon didn't invite you because he knew I had.
Okay. All right. You're so nice.
So
you guys
don't give
really,
him hell. Forgive him.
Okay. I shall forgive him.
Or give him hell. Give him hell. I don't care. Give him hell.
Give him hell. He needs that.
Right? Okay. All right. We've taken a vote. I'm going to give him hell. Thank you guys so much. I feel like I'm speed dating the Warrior cast right now, but at the same time, you guys have been bouncing around from platform to platform. Warrior is literally the appropriate name for the show because you guys just keep on fighting. Yeah. And one of the things I love the most is how each of the characters on the show are so multidimensional, and there's never all good or all bad. And, one of my good friends always says, I'm a good person that has done bad things, and I'm a bad person that has done good things. And I feel, especially with you two, and Langley knows this, I'm not a lot of love for Buckley, but Diane, it's like watching you with the sweetest face and voice and just like all of this, and then you do such evil things. It kills me, but it's super entertaining and conflictive to feel such empathy for your character, especially when she does questionable things. But how do you manage to find that balance? Because it's absolutely, the execution is just perfect.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you for saying that. And balance, I will say balance is key because, there's a lot of, Mai Ling is, throughout the whole 3 seasons, I feel like I've been, as a cast member, we would read it and then we'd message each other being like, oh my God, this happens. Or so many loopholes.
Yeah.
And every time she does something, I always just have to ask, like, what really is the point of this? Why does she do this? And it just comes down to that survivor in her of making sure that, she doesn't ever get back to that very vulnerable place of where she started in San Francisco, leaving China to come and rising the ranks and just needing that assurance that that she won't ever be rock bottom again.
Yeah.
It's been really fun to play. I obviously don't think that she does bad things. I think it's all in the name of surviving. But yeah, Mai Ling has been such a trip to play as an actor. I've never been given a role quite like this before. Emotionally, being able to work with all these talented actors, it's been a real dream over the years. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been fun for us to watch. And Langley, I know we've talked about it before, but you are coming around. There are some moments where I see a bit of humanity, and I feel a little for your character, but mostly I don't like you on the show. But I love you off air. I love you off air.
I will say that little twist at the end of season 3, I found myself feeling really bad for him.
Yeah, there was a little bit of because
I feel like for years we see him trying to find connection, however he does.
That's it.
And you find like you got caught up in those rose-colored lenses. And it's a testament to the character of Catherine, because like really she played you, and no one has been able to do that for 30 episodes. You've always been in control of every situation. And there was a moment where I'm like, oh shit, like what's gonna happen with Buckley?
Yeah.
Like I feel like this is like the breaking point for him. Whatever happens is like, you're gonna crumble from it.
Yeah, I think it's what's been wonderful in exploring this story, the love story, as you said, Mimi, the puppet master's strings are now being pulled by someone else. And Buckley had to overcome these I suppose his deep wounds and his trauma and his obsessive compulsive behavior that and not wanting to be close to people as a defense mechanism. Yet ultimately under that, I think that what you sympathized or empathized with there, Di, was that part in every one of us as humans. That's all we really want is love and connection, and to be seen. And I suppose because he's been invisible for so long, it's one of the hardest things for him stepping out into the political spotlight, is the fact that he is under such scrutiny. And he's being seen not in a very favorable light. And then all of a sudden there is this person who sees him and gets him. And it's the first time in a very long time that he's had that, and he's had that awakened within him. And man, the poor guy he just falls for it. It really is his wide open, gaping Achilles heel. And he becomes the mark. And let's see where this goes.
Yes,
hopefully
we definitely want to see where it goes.
These seasons, and we get to see where this goes, because Di, I think you're right. I think this is him finding this out, because he's going to find this out. He has to.
Yes, yeah, he has to.
We would imagine he has to, but you never know. Jonathan has a way of keeping us on our toes and providing the unpredictable twist. But if he finds out, I think it would lead to some sort of major break within him. And what happens then if everything, all of that toxic wounding that Buckley has inside him that he has not really been able to vent, if he suddenly vents that, watch out.
Yeah.
What happens to the world around? What happens to us when Buckley is unstable?
Right?
Yes.
That's terrifying. That is already terrifying.
Yeah. Because even though he's, maniacal, it's all very controlled and very plotted and planned. So I'm excited to see. Now, I have two quick questions. One is I want you guys to do a call to action, because I'm going to cut together a cool reel for everybody so we can make sure everyone's watching Netflix. But before we wrap, as daughter of immigrants, and as I'm sure Langley's told you, a huge advocate for Asian American history, not just for our kids, which is what I've done here, but like adults actually get get to see a piece of historical fiction with this. There's so many events that have happened. Warrior is just a really special show that, while entertaining, also is able to educate without kind of throwing it into your face. But why do you feel these stories are so important to tell?
Well, I'll start by saying that as a Canadian, as an Asian Canadian, there was so much that I learned throughout this show. I wasn't aware of American history. We weren't taught that in school. And so
we're not taught it here either. Don't worry.
And that's what I heard. It's like half a page in your history books. And so a lot of this was so eye-opening. And while we were filming, it went hand in hand with what was happening around us, whether it was, the problem with immigration in the US, not just for the Asian community, but for minority communities. Yeah. And then the Asian hate, the rise in Asian hate during the pandemic. I mean, I hope that what our show can bring is not only entertainment, but some light in terms of we are powerful within ourselves. Yeah. And to uplift our communities in fighting for what is right. So passionate about the show. I think it's so poignant in the time. We're so proud of what we've created, and coming on to Netflix, it's just like a broader audience. The fact that millions more people can enjoy what we've created. I just hope that the message, the Bruce Lee legacy is seen and felt throughout our show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Langley, do you have a?
Yeah, I think what is so great about this show, another thing that is so great about our show is the evolution of the characters, that it doesn't lean into not just the Asian stereotypes, but it doesn't lean into stereotypes. So you have characters that are flawed and are racist and are bigoted in ways in which so many of us are in this world. And yet the audience can identify with the real human side of it. You look at Bill, he's a racist, heavy drinking, a gambling addict who, has so many flaws and is yet so lovable because ultimately he's trying to do the right thing.
Right.
And you see him grow, and there is a slow evolution. And I suppose if, the show works in a way in that it might change people's perceptions by bringing action fans from certain, socio-political backgrounds into the fold of perhaps being more open-minded to people who don't look the same as one, and I love that about the show, is that it doesn't lean into the stereotypes. It lets everyone just kind of be human and flawed and fucked up in their own magical way.
Well said. All right. They're going to kick me out. So if you could just do one at a time, like a call to action, so I can put together everybody saying, watch Netflix, thumbs up, all the things. So everyone's.
Di, you go first.
February 16th, starting streaming all 3 seasons on Netflix, hopefully more territories, but please watch, binge the show, start to finish. The minutes matter. And hopefully we can rally on and for more. So just binge. Tune in, please.
Yes, binge all 3 seasons of Warrior on Netflix. Most importantly, in the first 2 to 4 weeks when we drop, and give us 2 thumbs up when you watched all 3. And remember to tag on your socials, Netflix and Netflix Golden. Thank you.
Thank you both so much. Diane,
so
I
nice.
hope we can talk again.
I know, I would love that.
Okay, good.
Really
Langley has my info.
Okay.
I do. Thank you, Mimi. So great to see you.
I'll see you all soon. So nice to meet you too.
Are you still coming to Cape Town?
That's the plan. That's the plan.
Oh my gosh.
That's the plan.
Wait, you're going to have such an amazing time.
I know. I've been wanting to come while you guys are filming, but it's just never really worked out. I mean, I want to be in the filming, I'm like going to find my way. I'm going to tell Brett to like throw me in the background, but like, yes. I've been dying to show up. So, but the plan is I'm booked. So
amazing.
I know. I'll be in touch. Thank you, Langley. Thank you, Diane. So lovely to see you. Bye. My last conversation was with my friend Hoon Lee, who plays Wang Chao. and Tom Weston Jones, who portrays Richard Lee. Hello, hello. Hi,
Hello. How are you?
I'm good. I was just talking to Langley. I'm like, thank you, Langley, for inviting me, because Hoon didn't. He goes, all right, Hoon knew I invited you, but give him hell
yes,
anyway.
that's why. That's why. We have a thread. It was covered.
Right. Okay. I told the last group, I'm like, I feel like I'm speed dating the Warrior cast this
It's
hour.
basically,
like,
yeah.
Go.
Yeah.
But what's been nice is I've had a friendly in every room, like someone I know. So this has been great.
Good.
But just, so excited about talking to all of you. And I've been saying, Warrior is literally the most appropriate name for the show, because you guys keep swinging and fighting and you just not go down.
Yeah.
And
Zombie could be a name for a show.
Yeah. Well, you being one of the writers on the show, you can, pitch that as like the little subtitle that comes up. But
we should definitely rename the show. Yeah.
One of the things I really love, especially about all of the characters in this room in particular, including the absent Kieran, is that they are so multidimensional, and no one is inherently good and no one is inherently bad. And everybody, I feel like the actions they take are with good, quote unquote, intentions, right? But in the same way, there's clearly morality lines that are crossed, and there's clearly choices that are made that even as your character, you're like, okay, this is probably not the quote unquote right thing or a good thing to do. Like, how do you approach that in your character, I guess, development, but also like, how do you see your character in that regard in terms of like the decisions they make and the choices they have to make within themselves and what actually ends up happening in the actual events?
Tom?
Bring it right back to me. Great question. Yeah, I think one of the things that I really found was sort of easy for me in the pilot is that Lee is new. He's learning all of this. He's much like Assam, really. There's a lot he has to catch up on. So there's a lot of discovery. And Lee, from the very beginning, he wears his moral compass on his sleeve, and is thrown into a world where he just has to completely recalibrate, running from something that was so shocking that really rocked that moral compass as well. So buried that secret deep down. So I think one of the things that's great about the show is that each character has multiple relationships, and they will probably show that moral compass in various different ways to certain characters. And Chow is the one person who Lee was reticent to do that with from day dot. And, Lee's hand was forced in season 3. So yeah, in terms of like safeguarding it, the moral compass, that is, every character is forced to really, for it to change essentially in various different ways. So that's a great joy to play that, really.
I think between Lee and Chow and Bill, we have actually sort of an interesting gradient where on one side you have Lee coming from an environment where he has done the right thing, but the unlawful thing. And he comes to a place where now he is the law. He's supposed to uphold the lawful thing and has questions about what is the right thing. Then you have Bill, who is very deep in that process and who literally sees Lee as someone sort of almost like himself from his history, right? Like the prior version of himself, how he may have used to have been, but is actively struggling with that line. And then you have someone like Chow, who has very clear ideas. He literally says to Officer Lee, there is no law here, that there is only the pursuit of the deal or the pursuit of your freedom in particular for Chow. So you have this sort of interesting, almost like a past, present, future, or, before, beginning, middle, end, or however you want to conceptualize it, gradient of the relationship between morality and law in these three characters, which is why I think it's such an interesting trio. And it's one of my favorite interactions on the show is figuring out the navigation between these different things, where Chow is an ally to Bill, and he and Bill sort of are against Lee in certain ways because of their alignment. And then Lee and Bill are sort of aligned in a certain way and against Chow. And then finally in the third season, we have the last permutation of Lee and Chow sort of being aligned in some way as needs dictate. But I love that. And I think that that sort of relationship and the complexity of that matrix manifests in between many relationships in the show, and that's really fun for us to play, and I hope fun for people to see.
Yeah, and you guys got to have like a little holiday together in that last round.
Yeah, yeah,
I love
in
that.
a boxcar.
It really was a holiday. It really was.
It was kind of fun because you never really get to see Chow like at length with someone for that long, right? And so I was like, oh, we have a little holiday where you guys go off and through a holiday of horror, but it was kind of fun to kind of see a more at length kind of interaction there. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, when that got pitched. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go please.
I was going to say, when that got pitched in the writers' room, it was really exciting for me because
yes,
Tom and I we're great friends, so that I knew those were going to be great shoot days. Mm-hmm. Aside from his phenomenal lack of talent, which is always a problem. He's obviously
He's been carrying me for years.
My back's killing me. Just from his Tom's such a skilled and tasteful actor. Mm-hmm. I knew those scenes were going to work well, but also I knew they'd be great work days. But then also because this is a character that has a lot of friction with Chow, where he kind of sees him as fundamentally not useful in many ways. Mm-hmm. There's a freedom potentially there for Chow to speak with less constraint and less duplicity, particularly given the situation itself, the context, and the fact that they might not make it out of there. So these two people who sit at sort of the opposite ends of that spectrum we were just talking about, it gives us all this room to cover. And so I was excited by that prospect. And they was a really fun experience and work day and series
absolutely.
For me at least.
It looked like fun. Not really.
Tom was like, I hated it.
Every second of it. Yeah, you would never think that opium withdrawals could actually be a hoot, but they,
Oh my gosh. I know they're going to start giving me the minute warnings and stuff soon. So hopefully, I mean, I know Kieran and Hoon, I can reach out, but Tom, hopefully you'll come back and have a more extensive conversation with me. Maybe we'll invite Kieran and we could do this whole group thing again.
Well, if you have a question for Kieran, we'll answer for him.
I believe you.
That'll be fun for us.
But Hoon already knows this, but as like in terms of Asian American history, I find this show to be one of the rare points where we can be entertained while learning something. And it's such a rarity in this day and age. And it's something that I advocate for, but also it's a great way to get adults to kind of be aware of what's happening. And I was just curious what you would say to why you think these stories are so important to tell.
It's a really great point. They're hugely important because, well, I suppose beyond just the moral correctness of it's framed in such a way that you can really get to grips with a bad ideology that people sort of associate themselves with. Because you get to know not only these people who are in a morally ambiguous world in the Tongs, but you get to know these people on the other side of it who judge them. And that's the thing the show does very well, is it humanizes everybody. So you're able to sort of separate these big ideas and see people for what they really are. And I think that's really vital, really, when you're tackling something as, long standing as racism in that form.
Yeah.
Jonathan's mantra has always been no good guys. There are no good guys. Yeah. There are no bad guys. And one of the things that speaks to is we all sort of, I think, intuitively recognize the danger of seeing somebody as the enemy, right? But one thing I think we sometimes miss is seeing ourselves as the good guy. And that's as dangerous a prospect, because then it puts you on this sort of imaginary moral high ground where you can start judging people, acting against them, seeing them as less than human, seeing them as less important. And I think that having a show where there are no good guys is just as important as having a show where there are no bad guys.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I'm going to do a little thing where I'm put put the call to action together with everybody. So if you want to like tell people watch Netflix, do the 2 thumbs up, whatever you want to say, so I can just blast this out on social and send it to as many people as possible, because we need that season 4.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. So
for the cost of a cup of coffee, you can put a hungry actor to work. No, I'm just kidding. Tell your friends, anybody you think that might like the show, to check us out on Netflix. Binge the show, watch it to completion, give us 2 thumbs up, and you'll get Tom giving you 2 thumbs up.
That's my face at the end of the show on every.
That ends every credit sequence.
Yes.
Yeah. You lose a lot of viewers that way.
Yeah. Terrible idea.
Tom, do you want to do your own one, like your own call to action?
Please watch the show. Watch it to the very end, and binge away, please. We love it, and we feel like we're in the right place, and we hope you do too. So yeah, 2 thumbs up, please.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I'm surprised I didn't get the little 1 minute left thing, but I'm pretty sure it's coming soon.
The last person didn't either.
Okay,
so someone's scrambling.
I figure you guys have more to do, so I don't also want to capitalize, since I can bother you later, Hoon. And
no, we're overdue, Mimi. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to give Karen a hard time for sure for standing me up. And Tom, I hope you'll consider having a at-length podcast at some point. But
absolutely,
you guys are awesome, and actually, this worked out even better because there was so many laughs without Karen, and you guys got to banter. So this is pretty funny.
He is a dirge of a man, so he would have dragged the whole thing down.
Well, thank you, Mimi. It's good to see you.
I will let you all go. Good to see you. Thank you so much, and we'll push for this, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Chat soon. Bye.
That's all for today's episode. Thanks for listening to The Sifu Mimi Chan Show. Please subscribe and rate my podcast on your platform of choice and leave a review. You can become a patron of the show at patreon.com/SifuMimiChan to help keep this podcast going. Follow me and interact on social media at Sifu Mimi Chan.